Hey friends, something I remembered recently got me really laughing. I think about American phrases that didn't make any sense to me when I first moved to this country. So imagine foreign little immigrant Irene in first and second grade learning English, and she goes to her teacher to get some help with the worksheet, and she's really confused, and her teacher just says, he's trying to be encouraging, goes, "It'll be a piece of cake." And I walk away from her and my face is like, there's cake? Where do I find cake? How do I find a piece of cake? Nothing made sense to me. That is like one little chapter of my life where it kept continuing. I was trying to make sense of living in another country, learning a new language and learning all the phrases that made no sense. Like throw the baby out with the bathwater, still really, really confused about that one. But it's not just in America. In every country, we have our own phrases, we have our own idioms, and they don't make sense. So don't worry, in Ukrainian and Russian, we got them too. But it really shaped how I grew up here. I either became someone who was just like, let me just fake it. Let me just pretend like I know what people are talking about when I really had no clue. Or what I would do is I would just ask a lot of questions, and at one point I would just kind of get made fun of. I would get labeled a blonde, a ditz, because I just didn't understand things. And if you're listening to this, Gen Z, this was before Google was invented, and I couldn't just go to the internet and find out what things meant. But life would be confusing, and it shaped my identity. It shaped how people saw me. It shaped how people viewed me, what they called me, or they thought I was getting everything and just moving along and moving with the speed of things. But really, I was just so confused. I was like, what did they just say? If you are my friend right now, you know many times I lean over to you in a meeting or even in church service and I go, what does that mean? It just continues. But the reason this is so funny to me is I also want to draw a parallel to your spiritual life. How many of you are just navigating what you know about God, what you know about what He says about you, who you are in God's eyes and who God is, based on a phrase or a teaching that was told to you in Sunday school, on the internet, on Instagram, on a podcast, and you received it, but you're actually kind of confused. You don't know if you really believe it. You don't really know what it's grounded in, and you're kind of faking it, kind of like I did. Instead of learning, you're just trying to move through the motions as if you get it. Or you're in a space where you're asking good questions, but you're not in a good group or class or church life rhythm where people want to help you understand. You can't just lean over and go, I don't know what that means, because you feel like it is a shot against your spiritual formation. Either one, it's not good. You want the real God, the full God, not an idea of God. And it's impossible to be spiritually mature and not keep learning, not keep asking questions. There's no I've arrived. It has nothing to do with age. It has everything to do with you and God and you getting to know Him. Can you see the parallel? I mean, just like foreign little immigrant Irene walking around trying to figure out how to make sense of life, you might be doing that with your spiritual walk. And I love the book of James. It reminds us so many little nuggets to encourage us to get wisdom that is not earthly, but heavenly based. In James 1:5, James writes, any of you lack wisdom, you should ask God, and He gives it generously to all of us. Then it continues to say, but if you don't have faith and you're doubting when you ask, then you're just like a wave tossed back and forth, and you are a double-minded person. We can all relate to that. So what are you rooted in? Are you asking God for wisdom? Are you trying to be in a place that lets you learn and ask questions? Or are you just moving through the motions, pretending like you get it? I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I want us to be able to measure our spiritual maturity, our formation, so we can see how we're getting wiser, how we're learning who God is, because God invites you to seek it out. He loves you. So if you have those moments like I do I really know what that means? Do I really know who God is? Let's dig in together. So this week, investigate. Find out where you're leaning in some information about your faith or your relationship with God based on things told to you, but you don't know them. Lean in, investigate, and ask God for wisdom.